Hello and welcome back. This is a continuation of Solitaire example of play as the allies in Coast Watchers by Volko, Runke, and GMT Games. The first video took us through the entire first turn of Situation F, and we are playing this Solitaire as the allies. Last video ended with the conclusion of turn one, the Japanese countermeasures phase, and we are all ready to go for turn two. So, just like in a two-player game and in the solitaire game, the Japanese player will take preparations actions. Now, in a two-player game, normally the Japanese would only be able to do two of these actions, but for the solitaire player, for the solitaire play, the Japanese have a modified use of the preparations phase. They do a build up, they do a ready, and then they do an augment always. So for the build up part, they're going to build up in situation F 4 locations. And again, because this is solitaire, we use these locked and unlocked Japanese report stations. So the lock symbol means that they have not used a build-up action there yet, and that cannot be searched. Unlocked means that it is open for a search by a coast watcher. There may be something there. So in the last video, we unlocked a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I think this one, right? Is it this one? No. Somewhere here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, right here. 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So we're going to unlock 4 more. So here we go to our Kempe deck. We're going to draw the first card, flip it, and it does have the build-up icon. So if possible, they will build up in New Britain. There is one location right here that they can unlock that is currently locked. So we'll go ahead and unlock that. That's their first. For their second build-up, this one again has the build-up icon, so Central Solomons. And there is one more location here left to unlock. So let's unlock that. Let's do number 3. Oh, this one does not have a build-up icon. So we skip that, draw another. There we go. Build up in the Central Solomons. Well, we've already unlocked all of those. We'll keep drawing. Guadalcanal. Okay, Guadalcanal has 2 locations, so let's randomly select which one they unlock. 1, 2. Let's draw a card and look at the option 2. It's a 2, so let's draw. We're going to unlock this one. One more location to unlock, and Guadalcanal again. So this is the only one remaining, and we unlock that. Okay, so that's the 4 build-up actions. Then we come down here and do a ready. So for one action, we're going to bring out 2 more army or patrols, put them into the ready box. Again, these can be deployed onto the map or into the bag. We'll see what happens. And the last step is they are going to augment to draw another asset. Here we go. And they get, ooh, pro-Japanese. Pro-Japanese. So the Japanese can discard this card at any time to flip 2 army total in New Guinea and or Bismarck's to police. All right, well, here is New Guinea. And there's one in there. And then there's also Bismarck's, which is here. And they have a police already. So if they were to play this right now, it would flip this one to police. However, this one already is a police in the Bismarcks, so it would only flip 1 patrol to police. And per the fold out for solitaire play, it says right here for pro-Japanese, use as soon as able to flip 2 patrols to police. So at this point, it would only flip 1, so they'll just hold on to it and use it later. All right, so that was the preparations phase. Now they did 3 actions. The solitaire got to do 3. They got to build up, they got to ready, and they got to draw an asset. In a 2-player game, the Japanese would have to choose only 2 preparations actions. All right, well, let's go to the first Coast Watchers activities phase. All right, well, our pool of evade markers is getting pretty low. So let's see, we're going to use one of our assets here to deliver some supplies. So this is using our deliver. We have to do, as the allied player, we have to do deliver actions first. We're going to do a resupply action at a hidden Coast Watcher in Japanese held. So let's do that here. The Japanese already know that there's a Coast Watcher there. That's what this little intel marker is. They discovered him, I think, probably the last time we delivered to him. He got revealed. So let's go ahead and prepare the patrol cup. So we're going to use Catalina's. And because it's a resupply action, we're going to put in 2 sighting markers and 9 nothing markers. However, they have flying boats, so that is going to subtract 2 of our nothing markers. So it will be 2 and 7. 2 and 7. So let's put this one back in there and this one back in there. And now we have our 4, 5, 6, 7 nothings and 2 sightings. Let's draw and find out if they're, oh, there's 1 sighting. Okay. So with a single sighting marker, this means that it succeeds, but we reveal all blocks involved. So this guy becomes revealed again, but we do put 4 more evade chits into the patrol cup. All right, next, that was our first action. Let's go ahead and do a observation. Let's do an observation. We've already observed at both these locations. Those are good buildups to report on, especially with Reed Mason. This asset doubles the warning. Oh, that's warning VP. If the Japanese launch an operation through here, that would double their VP for a warning against that operation. Yawaka, oh, he let us hide. After a countermeasures phase, we can hide Bougainville Coast Watchers, but haven't had an opportunity to use that yet. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to use our boats, save our boats to do an insert later. Right. Actually, we can do that now, an insert. Yeah, let's do an insert. So question is, where do we want to insert one of these Coast Watchers? Now, this asset, boats, says it must be within range 2 of Allied held, which means here's an Allied held location. So we could use it to put a Coast Watcher here, or 1, 2 here, but not here. That's too far away. So here, here, or here are locations we could put Coast Watchers at. Or from this location, we could insert 1 here, or from this location to one of these 2 locations. Well, I think it'd be best to insert 1 here at a location that we have not observed at yet. So let's go ahead and try to put 1 right here. I don't want to try to put 1 where there's a patrol, because if they're sighted, they'll get an immediate search against us. So let's try for Rakita Bay. So because we're using boats, it's going to be 2 sighting markers and 8 minus 2 because of flying boats. So 6 sighting markers, or 6 nothing markers. All right, so 2 and 6, let's go ahead and draw 1, nothing, and nothing. So it successfully inserted a Coast Watcher from our ready box, and the Japanese do not know it is there. All right, that was our second action. Now we have 3 more actions, and we're done with our deliver actions because we have no more assets to use there. So let's go down to operate, and we're going to observe. So let's go ahead and observe. We should probably try to observe here before it gets too difficult with this patrol here. So we're gonna patrol or search, do a search, observe operation at Lavaro. There is a patrol here, so we're gonna draw two chits from the patrol cup. 1, 2, and it was not discovered. One gets left out, and the other one gets put back in the cup. Let's see what's there. Ooh, there is a construction at Lavaro. Okay, so let's replace this report marker with a construction. All right, that was our first action. Our next action is going to be well, so now we're getting in trouble because we've only got 2 more actions and we don't want to leave a Coast Watcher face up or visible. But I don't want to waste an action, so let's go ahead and search at this new location we put a Coast Watcher at. Now, there's no patrol here, so we only draw 1 chit from the patrol cup. Hopefully it is an evade marker. Ooh, it is a Japanese patrol. So we were discovered, but it was a success. Let's see what is there. Ooh, another buildup at Ricotta Bay. All right, but now we only have 1 action left, and both of these Coast Watchers are visible. I need to put a Japanese intel marker out here to indicate they know about this Coast Watcher. All right. Well, we can only hide 1 of them. Now, we already have observed at this location, so let's leave him out there. We'll risk him. This guy we're going to evade with for our last action. Oh, wait, no, I forgot about these actions, these assets. Hideouts lets us any 1 time per activities phase free observe, no action. Discard this card before an observe to succeed without a cup draw. Well, let's use hideouts for that last observe action. So that wouldn't have counted as an action, which leaves us with our 5th action then to evade with this guy. Okay, that's better. So again, hideouts gives us a free observe. It does not count as one of our 5 actions for the phase. All right, let's go to the Japanese countermeasures phase. Going to get all these cards and put them straight up and down again to indicate have not been used for the next phase. All right, Japanese. They are going to start with a redeploy, if possible, recall from all deactivated stations. Well, we don't have any deactivated stations. So where are they going to deploy? Deploy because they have this asset. Jungle tactics. Once per countermeasures phase, use 1 deploy action before searches. So let's see where they deploy to. Draw a card. Oh, I should have drawn a new focus card. So we drew Bismarck's, but let's figure out what our focus card is for this phase. So they drew a deploy for the Bismarcks, which is right here. Okay, and according to this focus list, they're going to deploy at bases first if possible. Well, There already is a patrol at the only base here, so let's keep going down that focus list, and it is where there's a record. Okay, well, they don't have any records of Coast Watchers. Okay, and then the next spot is where there is personnel. And there is a personnel in the Bismarcks right here. So that is where they will deploy to. All right, so that was their deploy. And now they're going to do up to 3 stations or searches at 3 stations. So here we go. First search location is going to be in the Central Solomons. They have 1 patrol in the Central Solomons. Again, what I should have reminded everyone is that they will always deploy or search at locations where there's a revealed personnel block. This is a revealed block right here, but it does not contain personnel, no Coast Watchers or refugees or crew. So that's why it's important to end the Allied activities phase with no face down or face up Coast Watchers, because that would be an automatic target. But Central Solomons, they're going to search at Segi here. So they're going to draw 2 chits because there's an Army patrol. 1, 2. Okay, so it was a successful search, but it does not remove that evade marker. They both go back into the cup. So let's go ahead and put this face up. That was the first search. Second search is going to be at Bougainville, which is here. They have 2 locations that they could do a search at. And if we look at their priorities, they're going to do a base. And there is a base. Both of these locations are bases. So it's a tie break. Are they going to search here or are they going to search here? We're going to have to draw a Kempe card and select 1 or 2. Option 2 is a 1, so they're going to search here at Buka. It's an Army patrol. They draw 2 chits. 1, 2. Okay. Because there were 2 evade chits drawn, 1 goes back into the bag, 1 is left out. And they failed that search. Okay. So that was 1 search. This was another search. And they do 1 more search. Bougainville again. So they're going to search this location. It's the only one left. 2 chits. 1, 2. Okay, 1 goes back into the cup. 1 is left out. And they did not discover that Coast Watcher either. All right, so they have 1 more action. This is going to be another deploy. So let's draw and see where it goes. Oh, Bismarcks. Well, and here there's no location I think they can deploy to because according to this focus, bases, they've already got a patrol at the only base that's in there. They don't have any records or personnel that don't already have a patrol. And then report stations would be the last focus category. Well, Tebar and Imaru are not report stations. They're locations that cannot have buildups. So they will not deploy there either. So we're going to need to draw another card to see where they deploy to. New Guinea. Okay, well, here's New Guinea. And let's see, there's potentially 2 locations here that they could deploy to. The focus card says deploy to a base first. Well, this is a base that does not have a patrol. So Salamaua, I guess how you pronounce it, gets a patrol. And that is their 5th and final action for their countermeasures. Let's go to another Allied activities phase. Oh, and actually, now they can play this. Pro-Japanese, discard this card anytime to flip 2 army total in New Guinea and or Bismarcks. So they were supposed to play this. According to this, it says play as soon as you're able to flip 2 patrols to police. So this patrol got placed before this one did. So at the point that, at the moment this one got deployed, this card would then become playable by the solitaire Japanese player. So that means Lei, it becomes police, and Namatane becomes police as well. And this card gets discarded. I'll just leave this face up here. Okay, let me make sure none of these other ones. Each countermeasure's phase, search that reveals a hidden block, may also reveal one adjacent block if no further search that phase. Well, it wasn't, that didn't trigger because they didn't discover someone on their last search. Tanaka and Jungle Tactics. Okay. This one has already been used. I'm just gonna leave this up here. Okay, Japanese or allied activities. We have 5 new things to do. I like keeping this bag full. So let's go ahead and do another resupply action. So we're going to try to resupply here at Ricotta Bay. We're going to put 2 sightings and 7 nothing markers in the bag. And let's draw 2. 1, 2. Okay, it was sighted. So this guy becomes visible. And we put 4 of these evade chits into the patrol cup. For our second action, we're going to get this ready Coast Watcher and get him into Japanese territory. Let's put this one here in Tataba. Okay, so using boats, we're going to use 2 sightings and 6 nothings. So let's put this back in the bag, but not this one. 4, 5, 6. Okay. Draw 2. 1, 2. Okay, this one successfully got inserted without detection. Okay. So that was 2 of our 5 actions. Let's not forget we have a free search from hideouts. Let's go ahead and use that now. Let's search at our new location here in Tataba. There are no patrols here, so we just draw 1 chit from the cup. It's nothing, it's an evade, so it was not detected. Let's see what it is. Ooh, another buildup in Tataba. Okay, so that was a free search from hideouts. I'm just turning the card a bit to show that we've used it. So we still have 3 actions. Let's go ahead and do a search here at Chosul. You only draw 1 chit. It's another evade, so it was successful without detection. Yeah, there's another buildup at Chosul. Wow. Another buildup at Chosul. Okay, 2 more actions to go. Let's go ahead and, well, let's demonstrate a resist. Okay, so we have this mission called resistance. So I'm going to put this out on the table. It says show to resist once. Okay, so resist is one of our operations here. And we could remove that patrol from this base because we have guerrillas with these coast watchers. But actually, now that I think about it, it'd be nice to eliminate that police, but we don't have guerrillas there. Well, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So we're going to resist. So just like an observe, we're going to draw from the cup. There's a army patrol here, so we draw 2 chits from the cup. 1, 2. Okay, and make sure there's not an asset here that messes with this. There's not. Okay, so it succeeds, but we were discovered. So both of these go back in here. So this gets flipped face up, and this army is removed. Place it back onto the mat here. And let's put in a Japanese intel marker on that spot. All right, well, Salamawa is now without a patrol, but they now know that we're there. Okay, so that was one of our actions. Our last action, we're going to evade at Salamawa to hide. Oh, we have a coast watcher here we need to hide. Well, that was not probably the best choice of actions, but oh well. Now you're going to get to see what happens when you leave a coast watcher face up going into a Japanese activities phase. There is a possibility that the Japanese will launch operations this turn, so maybe that's what they'll do. Okay, so now that this is the turn 2, there's 2 choices the Japanese can do. They could launch operations, there's a question mark here, or they could do another countermeasures. So let's determine if they launch operations. Now, in a 2-player game, the Japanese player, they have these missions, these mission cards, and there is it tells you which turn that the operation could be launched. So aerial recon could be launched on turn 2. Bombardment, turn 3, and bombing turn 3 to 5. This is a 3-turn scenario. It only lasts 3 turns. So in a 2-player game, they would have to launch bombing on turn 3. It's their only choice. But for solitaire play, you ignore these turn limits for when they launch. Instead, you follow this. So it says they never launch on turn 1. They always attempt to launch on a situation's final turn. This is not the final turn. On each other turn, which this would apply, draw a region, launch only if it has any Japanese bases, all of which are unlocked. So for instance, if we draw a card and it says New Guinea, well, they're both locked, both the bases. Again, bases are the locations that have the orange border, the gold border. These are, for example, are not a base. So let's draw and see if they launch. Bougainville. Okay, so Bougainville has 2 bases and both of them are unlocked. So they do attempt to launch operations. So this triggers the end of the game. Just like in a 2-player, when operations launch, this ends the game. So now we need to figure out which of these, if any, that they will launch. And we kind of follow this guide, and it says, if the Japanese launch, flip all unlocked Japanese control markers and drawn Japanese mission cards face up. Now, these are already face up because we used code breaking so that we could kind of see what they had in their hand ahead of time. And then launch all operations able by the following rules, beginning with those that will earn the most Japanese victory points, then score. Determine an operation's origin buildups, targets, paths for the most Japanese VP, and to avoid allied warning VP as much as able. Okay, now this might take some explaining because I'm going to kind of explain the 2-player, just how operations work in general. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip all, let me unlock these. Let's unlock Well, actually, are we supposed to do those? Let me double check. I'll flip all unlocked Japanese. Okay, never mind. These stay locked. Just unlocked. These would be locations that they did buildups from. Okay, lots of stuff out there. These never got unlocked, so these will not be evaluated. Okay, so now we got to evaluate these missions to see if they can be launched. So for instance, bombing. Bombing would require, again, it says turn 3, launch turn 3 to 5, but we ignore this in solitaire play. The requirements are aircraft at Rabal and or Kavieng. Now, solitaire rules do this differently. In a two-player game, the Japanese player would have to have aircraft buildups at those locations. So for instance, at Rabal here or at Kavieng. But solitaire rules do this instead. Um, it says launch operations from any air-sea buildups. So in other words, what's depicted on these counters is not very important. It's more just there should be only two types technically of buildups that can be out there. There's air-sea, which would be like this guy, or ships or transport, which we don't really have any of those out there yet. And then there's like troops and construction and army. Those are considered, if we go to the first page, you'll see right here the buildup types. There's air and sea, which are these three types, and then there's land buildups. Again, this is only for solitaire play that this matters. Because these randomly got placed out there, it would be pretty much very unlikely that the randomness of placing these buildups would correctly place them at a location needed for a mission. So there's just two types. There's air, land and air, and then there's all others. I'm sorry, air and sea and land. So going back to the last page here again, it says that we are to launch operations from any air-sea buildups. And then it says for operations that require two or more buildups, instead use just one at any listed location, scoring VP normally. So for example, listed locations here are Rabal and Kavieng. Rabal does not have a buildup. Kavieng has a land buildup, so that can't be used. So for bombing, this operation does not get launched because they do not have a sea or air buildup in either of these locations. So we're going to put this one off to the side. Let's evaluate troop convoy next. This one requires, in a two-player game, the Japanese player would need transports at Rabal and warships at Kavieng or Buin. So Rabal, Kavieng, or Buin. Now, per the solitaire rules, they launch operations if they have a air or sea buildup in any of the listed locations. Now, this would require a total of 2 buildup markers in a two-player game. In solitaire, you just need 1. So this one is launchable because there is an air-sea buildup in one of the listed locations, Buin. So what does this score them? Well, it scores them 16 victory points if they launch the operation to Lavaro, which is here, or 12 VP if they launch it to Buna or Leh. Okay, so Buna is right here, and Leh is right here. So this one is possible. Let's just put this off to the side for now. Let's look at bombardment. This requires warships at Kavieng and Rabal. Rabal, Kavieng, neither of them have air or sea buildup markers, so this one is out of the question. Next is aerial recon. This requires aircraft at any one base. Well, this is a base, and it is an air-sea buildup, so this one is possible. And the targets are two Allied bases and or objectives, range 3 or more from the buildup used. Well, this is the buildup that would have to be used. And the range of 3, well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a valid location. And then down here would be definitely within a range of 3 down to here. Now, to give them a better chance, the Japanese, a more thoughtful approach to this, we have to calculate and see if it would give them more VP than, for instance, here it says cancel any operation that would add fewer Japanese victory points than it would cause Allied warning VP to subtract from the net score. Such operations do not launch. So, for example, when you're doing final scoring, here's the scoring ways that you can score. The Japanese are going to score what's on the card. Okay, so they would score 9 victory points. The Allies would be able to score coast watchers that are on the path that the Japanese used to score. They would subtract 3 victory points for every coast watcher that is on the path of the operation. That's a range of 3 or greater from the target. So, for example, if the Japanese did aerial recon and the path they chose to launch it was something like this, and you can use these markers to kind of help you track the progress or where it's going. Say it went from there to here to here to here to here. Say that was their path. Well, this coast watcher is on the path, and it's more than 3 from Port Moresby. So they're able to warn way ahead of time, radio the Allies saying, hey, there's aircraft coming your way. That would score them 3 VPs, or subtract 3 VPs from this score. This one would subtract 3 VPs from the score. This one would subtract 3 VPs from the score. So already we're at 9 VPs subtracted from their score of 9 VPs. So that's not going to get them any points whatsoever. So for sure, aerial recon is something they are not going to use because no matter if they went that direction or this direction, it's going to mess with them. However, we do have Tanaka, ignore warnings of warship and transports by coast watchers on paths at range 0 to 2 from target. Well, this could potentially help them, but we've got this right here. It says if any of these 3 cards are showing when launching operations, shuffle all 3 together. For each that was showing, draw 1 randomly and apply it normally. So let's see, let me search the deck and get those other 2 guys, Mikawa and where is he? Is it Kusaka, Mikawa, and Tanaka? Where is Kusaka? Don't see him in there. He must be in here? Ah, there he is. Okay, so we're gonna take these 3 cards, flip them over, and randomly draw 1. Kusaka. Okay, so this says ignore paths from aircraft for warning by adjacent coast watchers. Interesting. I still don't think that that helps them because even if they launch this way, that's going to be -3 no matter which path they choose. This one's one of these 2. It's going to be -3. Well, possibly, but they're going to have to select 2 locations per aerial recon. Targets are 2 Allied bases and or objectives. Because they're so far apart, They would have to launch both directions. I think. Okay, well, I think this one's pretty much out of the question because uh, they would not gain. They'd only gain 9 victory points, and the warning VP would reduce that quite dramatically. So I think Lavoro is going to be their best option. So target Lavoro or Buna. Lavoro or Buna. If this was situation I, they could also target Lei, but that's out of the question because this is situation F. So which one do they do, Lavoro or Buna? Well, here is Buna, and Lavoro is way down here. So if they launch to Buna, this would score them 12 victory points, -3, 6. These guys are adjacent to the path, so they would score or subtract 1 victory point from the allies. So 3, 6, 7, 8. So it would give them a net of 4 VP. That's not bad. Or if they came down here to Lavaro, they would subtract 3, 6, 9, and then these are all adjacent guys. So hold on, let me double check something here because they only score for hidden adjacent coast watchers. So this guy doesn't subtract VP. So 3, 6, 9. Oh, no. This one's less than 2. I'm sorry. So they only scored 2 victory points for coast watchers that are on the path and 0 to 2 away. So this would score -2 VP. 1, 2. This would score 3, -3, -3. So 6, 7, 8. This guy's adjacent and hidden. So 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, well, either way, it's going to be a net of 4 VP, the Japanese score. So they're going to use troop convoys. That's going to be their mission that they launch. Doesn't really matter at this point which way they go because the net result is 4 VP for the Japanese. So we're going to say they went this way. So it's 12 VP they score, -3, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So the Japanese score, we're just going to write on this +4 VP, +4 VP. They could also score victory points from captured coast watchers, which they have not captured any of these, and if they had any special assets that scored them victory points. But none of them do. This one ignores paths. I'm pretty sure, even though this is technically ships. Oh yeah, because we're using troop convoy, this buildup is representing ships, not aircraft, so this does not apply. Okay, so let's go ahead then, and I think that's all the points that the Japanese score, is just the 4 VP from the troop convoy. Okay, well, what did the Allies score or subtract from the score? Well, according to this, they we already factored in the Allied warning, so I'm going to ignore this VP. They also score VP from reports of buildup or bases, so -5 VP per report of a buildup. Okay, well, we got a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a land buildup. 7. I think there's not one there. 7. All right, well, the gist is it's a lot of VP that the allies are going to subtract from the Japanese score. So for sake of time, and just because this is an example of play, this is going to make the score pretty negative to the Japanese. They needed 4 or more VP to score, and they didn't get it, not by a long shot. So, yeah, in a 2-player game, obviously, the Japanese would not have been placing all these buildups out there that they couldn't use. None of these missions could use them. These were all operations. But yeah, there you have it. This is an example of a solitaire play, and everything that you see here, the components, the situations, the pieces, this is all playtest, and this is all subject to change and balance. I think we got pretty fortunate here as the allied player. I have played a number of solitaire games up to this point, and this is by far the best I've ever seen the allies perform. Normally it's pretty hard, pretty difficult on the allies to avoid being taken and to do as many observations as they did. Again, this can fluctuate based upon the random buildup counters that get placed or seeded out there at the beginning. But yeah, this gives you an example of how you would play this one-handed from the allied perspective. There is a Japanese solitaire play as well using this Ferdinand deck, and this will play with a different fold out that gives you the rules for how to play as the Japanese solitaire. But that will be for another time to demonstrate how that works. Again, thank you for watching, and check the link of this video for a link to this game on GMT's P500 program. I'm excited for seeing this one hit the table, hopefully soon, and thank you for watching.